All right, welcome to the Apocalypse Gym podcast. I'm Justin Klein, and this podcast is designed to bring you people who have fought back at life and are better people because of it. It could be mental, could be physical, could be spiritual battles, but they suffer through them. They have a story, and they want to share that story so that everyone out there, you, the listener, the survivors, can hopefully listen and learn and apply what they have gained through their experience to your life and hopefully make you a better person on the backside. Now, this podcast is brought to you by Drink Armor. Let me move my coffee cup here. Right? They make a bunch of cool weightlifting items that you can get. And if you check out their website, check out our link and use our code down in the show notes below. We get a little bit of that profit, which will go directly to benefiting the podcast and helping us spread the message of all of our survivors out there, and hopefully can make everyone a little bit better. So let's get to the show and our next guest.
It has been a while since I've sat down and talked to everybody. I've been, as most of you know, are probably listening to this. I've been kind of preoccupied with a big training event, a big competition, and I've spent a considerable amount of time getting ready for that. I pretty much occupied, every hour of my waking day. Minus the time I spent with my family. So I haven't had a lot of time to jump on here and give you guys the content that, you probably deserved. But competition is over. There's a lot of good things that I took away from that I think are greatly beneficial to the listening audience out there. I know it's greatly beneficial to me. A lot of life lessons, oddly enough, learned out of a physical competition. So I wanted to bring those to everybody. But I will say for this episode, I didn't want to lose the momentum that I have coming out of the competition. I'm super excited about it. Obviously, if you follow me or anything on social media, me and my partner did extremely well. So I don't want to lose that momentum that I kind of have from it by not getting at least one episode out right away. So that's what this one is. And I feel like it's necessary to take this first episode as a introduction for all of you who don't know what it is, to kind of give you what it is so you understand it. And that way, this is kind of a short precursor to the following episodes. Still working some timelines for all the guests that I'm going to bring on. So those will be coming, but I wanted to get this one out there, kind of highlight what the competition is, what it means, and kind of, drop some Easter eggs, I guess you could, for what some of the big takeaways that I had are going to be. So the best ranger competition, what is it? Very few people in the world probably know what it is. The military is the 1% of all of our population. I would say about half of that 1% even know what the best ranger competition is. So don't feel bad if you don't know what it is. It's kind of a small thing in the grand scheme of things, right? But when it comes to the military, the best ranger competition is a pretty big deal. It's been compared to the Olympics of like the military. It started, well, this was its 39th year. There's been a couple years where they didn't hold the best ranger competition due to war, or in 2020, obviously the COVID outbreak prevented the best ranger competition from going on. But it was the 39th anniversary of the David E. Grange best ranger competition. It started out and I'll put the link to the website on there. You can really deep dive into it if you really care. But it basically started out as somebody was like, hey, let's see who the best ranger is. And they kind of created this competition, and they wanted to see who the best ranger buddy pair was. There's just two people, so you have you and your ranger buddy, and it was really just kind of for the regiment guys originally, the ranger regiment guys, and then it kind of expanded over a few years to the ranger regiment and the special forces community, and then more and more interest was shown for the competition. And now you basically have everyone, as long as you have been to ranger school and you're ranger qualified, you can compete in the competition. So it is now basically an international event where people from all branches of the military and all different countries of the world come and compete. The gist of it is typically it starts with 51 teams, 50 because there is no number 13 team. Typically 51 teams start on day one, and then they make subsequent cuts after day one, subsequent cuts after day two, and then typically a 15 to 16 teams finish on day three. Originally, this wasn't, people didn't spend a lot of time training for it. They want to see who is the best, just the best person, best ranger buddy team kind of normally, right? But as the competition grew and grew, and the pride in the competition and the kind of clout that came with it, it became more and more of a, hey, we need to win this thing, right? Because everybody wanted to be, hey, we got the best rangers, right? So now it's basically morphed into a massively grueling competition that takes months to train for. Most of your teams will dedicate 3 to 4, maybe 5, 6 months to training up a team so that they can actually compete in the best ranger competition and not get cut on day one or day two. It takes hours of training, skills, physical fitness, to even show up on day one, and then to even get to day three, you're talking elite level fitness of individuals. So that's what the best ranger competition is. It's 60 hours of testing everything that you can imagine under the sun. The competition is typically, well, it is not typically, but you don't know what the competition is going to be overall until about the week before, when they do competitors week. So they send out, I won't call it generic, but it's basically a generic memo saying, hey, these are all the things that you could possibly do during the competition. Make sure you train on them. So you just have, basically it says train on everything the Army has to offer. And then a week before, you have competitors week, where they narrow down, hey, these are the events. They don't tell you the order. They don't tell you it's going to go, but they kind of give you the idea of what you're actually going to be training on. If there's something that you're doing that you haven't trained on, good luck trying to resource it in the last week, because that's kind of a nightmare. So not only is it just a grueling event, really it's a big surprise on what you're going to be doing. So, but there was kind of I follow a few different Facebook posts or chats or whatever you want to call them. And it's it was weird, because a lot of these guys are older. They've been around for a long time, and they were like, oh, I remember when the best ranger competition was this, and we was only like this, and this new stuff is stupid and whatever. And that was it kind of reverts me back to some of the things that we've talked about before, that just because we do it this way or we did it that way doesn't mean it's the best way. So I want to kind of highlight that throughout the next few episodes. Right, things morph, things change, and those old guys that we're talking about, that, like, I'm sure that they were the peak fitness of their day, and they've crushed it in their career. So nothing short to them. But things change, things morph, right? Hopefully for the better, but we can't always just be like, well, we did it this way, so we're going to always keep doing it this way. Sometimes things get better, right? So that was kind of one of the first lessons I kind of wanted to highlight was just because things change doesn't mean it's a bad thing, right? But the next we kind of one of the episodes I'm going to get into, it kind of depends on how I get everything arranged, but the training for the Best Ranger competition, it is a grueling slog, right? So like I want to talk about what it takes to even get to day one. I mean, there's hours and hours and hours of things that you have to, train on, like so long on your feet, so many rucks, so many runs. And then not only that, you have to practice skills, and shooting. And there's so much. And we'll talk about the dynamics of that and how you balance all that. And, I was fortunate enough that all of our training was here, where I'm at, but there were 3 other competitors with us. We ended up making 2 teams. They all traveled, right? And they were here for an extended period of time. So they were away from their family. So I want to kind of hopefully bring some of those guys on, talk about how they balanced this insane training load with family time and how they still kind of had made that work and still kind of made that balance work, so that they could focus on game day. And then another episode leading up to is I was fortunate enough to be stationed at Fort Benning as a first sergeant for a basic training company. And Fort Benning, I think most basic training places have a resource called the Ready and Resilient Office, or R2. And they work with mental performance. They talk a lot about just really like how you get out of your head or use imagery or, terms and sayings or everything mental, right? Everything mental to make you perform better. So I got to know the R2 team when I was a first sergeant there. And, when I trained for Best Ranger in 2020, before it was canceled, we had actually worked with kind of R2 a little bit, trying to give ourselves a mental edge for the competition. So I thought, what better way? Like, hey, once we go back down to Georgia this time, it's like, well, let's get linked back in with R2. So I had an R2 contact there. We got linked in with her, and she was incredible. Lots of things that her and her partners did to kind of help us mentally prepare for the competition. Lots of skills that she gave us that we could use during the competition to kind of help, if something went bad, kind of refocus our minds. And then just a lot of things to help us along the way, because day one is pretty grueling. It ends with the 20-mile road march. So this year we had already done about 30 miles before we started the road march. So, it was whatever time of the night. Like you started kind of getting your head, right? Like your body hurts, you're tired, your feet are probably already destroyed at this point. So you really kind of get in your head. And so R2 is big with us being able to utilize some of those middle skills to kind of keep ourselves focused and keep ourselves, going forward so that we could keep driving on. And then another time is, again, the nighttime. It's weird how that darkness gets you. Is during night orienteering. Basically wander around in the woods at night trying to find different points. And this year was a little different. Different for what it has been in the past, but same as it has been in the past too. But basically we wandered around the woods for 5 hours. Pitch black dark with a 40-pound rucksack on your back. The navigation part wasn't hard. It's fairly easy. But you're walking through the woods in the dark with no lights. So you're literally running into trees and bushes and all the crap grabbing your legs, and there's holes. And within the first hour, I was like, I hate this, right? Because it was frustrating because you're literally bumping around in the dark for 5 hours, right? So it was a mental game of, I just want to sit down and just screw this. I just want to sit down. This is dumb, right? But you got to keep going. You got to keep driving on. So some of their tips and tricks that they gave us were key for me, at least, I know, in kind of clearing my mind and keeping me focused on moving forward, even though every time I took a step forward, I pretty much fell down. So yeah. So again, I just want to keep episode 1. I wanted to ride the momentum. I want to get it out. I told you guys I was getting it out. But I want to explain what the best trainer competition was. And I want to kind of highlight so you kind of see where it's going. And as soon as I get everything lined up, I'll post it so you guys can see what's coming. But there's a lot of lessons to be learned, a lot of good things that I want, kind of get out there and hopefully bring some of those people in that can, elaborate on those things and give you, especially the R2. Super excited about R2. I think she's going to bring a lot of skills that everyone can use in their daily life so that they can be a better person. So anyway, thank you guys for tuning in. I know it was short. Probably wasn't the content packed episode you're waiting for. But again, I want to get something out there, keep you guys interested, and then kind of give you guys a highlight of what's coming. So thanks for listening, and go to the gym. I'm in mine already. I'm about to go. It's cold though. So